I make my way through the hallways of the palace, determined to find Sir Mithras. This is gonna be crazy. We're gonna run into our mom again. I can't believe we actually did resurrect her. Plots are thickening. Over the past few months, I have been all but invisible to the people in the palace. It allowed me to pass undisturbed. I had always figured it was because no one remembered who I was with my curse. But today, things are different. A maid sweeping the hallways jumps at the sight of me before quickly curtsying. Your Highness! Her eyes are downcast, and she does not look up at me as I pass by her. As I walk past her, two other servants heading in my direction also move to the side of the hallway. Your Highness? Your Highness. They remember who I am now? But how? Has my curse somehow been broken? I spend the entire morning searching for Sir Mithras, but he is nowhere to be found. The only room I have yet to search is the throne room. I'm so nervous. I push open the doors and walk inside. There I am met with an unexpected sight. The king sits on his throne, his posture regal, but his eyes downcast. Your Majesty? He does not look up when I enter, but I can see that his eyes are stony, unmoving. I approach him cautiously, and upon closer look, I notice how his eyes look so empty. It's almost as if he cannot see me. I inhale and something catches in my throat. My heart begins to beat rapidly. What have they done to you? My princess. I whirl around and see Sir Mithras approaching me with a smile. Where did he come from? These pillars, I tell you. He's hiding behind them, trying to catch a scandal. I could have sworn there was no one else here when I entered. Sir Mithras? I was just on my way to see you. Varg just told me you had awakened. What is wrong with the king? Physically, there's nothing wrong with him at all. Anger begins to burn within me. You swore that you wouldn't harm him. Is he not alive, my princess? Take a good look at him. The king is completely unharmed. The change in Sir Mithras's expression is subtle, but I can feel the malice in his gaze. I should add that it was difficult to keep this promise, princess. My queen will be having words with you about this. Mother? Where is she? She has left the palace for the time being. You have been unconscious for a week. My queen could not spend every moment fretting by your bedside. But didn't Varg say he was the one to stay by my side? Yeah, your mom doesn't really care about you. That's gonna be a tough thing to face head-on. If we ever actually do see our mom, maybe she's just fled the country. I shake the thought from my mind. When will I be seeing her? At dinner, I assume. Now, if that's all... Wait. Sir Mithras pauses abruptly to look at me. The servants I met in the hallway seem to remember me. How? You really cannot guess. He runs a hand through his hair. When you turned 18 and became the Tanabaran bearer, the curse that the lesser witch cast on you broke. What? Moments before your mother woke, you were the strongest witch in all of Angielle. A lesser witch's spell could not have any effect over you. Congratulations, princess. You are no longer a victim of the curse. Your life is back to the way it was before. Now, is there anything else you would like to ask me? Yes, there is. Holy cow, so we didn't even have to do our 3 good deeds. That's insanity. About Fritz. He's gonna refuse. And I always have to be the one to help the boys break their curses anyway, so I'm gonna do this. Because I care. Although me personally, I'm a little sad about having to break his curse because I fell for Varg instead of Fritz. It's not my fault. Varg's been in this route more than Fritz has. I've bonded with him more. Don't judge me. Much to my astonishment, Sir Mithras begins to laugh. The sound is cruel and so sharp and deadly it cuts through whatever hope had been forming in my heart. You wish to break his curse. Oh, princess, you should have told me earlier you cared so much about the boy. Perhaps then I would have tailored his curse to your requirements. Oh, poor, upstanding, chivalrous Fritz. In many ways, he was too much of a knight for his father's liking. Ugh! Sir Mithras leans closer to me, so close I can see a crazed gleam in his eyes. Would you like to know why I cursed him, princess? I remain rooted in place, but not flinching away from Mithras is harder than I would have thought. Sir Alcaster approached his son for help, expecting him to help kill the king and take over the throne, but Fritz refused. Sir Alcaster needed an obedient servant, and Fritz deserved to be punished for stepping out of line. No. And so I removed those memories of Alcaster telling Fritz of his devious plans and gave him the curse. Fritz has the Little Red Riding Hood curse. There is, after all, no better servant than the big bad wolf. He has all the power and drive of a predator, but is still so obedient. Wolves are closely related to dogs, after all. And better yet, the big bad wolf will always stay close to the lady he desires to devour. Ugh, Mithras, why do you have to word it that way? I can feel disgust seething in my stomach. I have created the perfect servant for Sir Alcaster. In short. Sir Mithras suddenly reaches out a hand to grab my face by the chin. He forces my head up at a painful angle. There is no breaking his curse, princess. Not unless Fritz is somehow able to mentally overpower Varg. And we all know how formidable Varg is. Sir Mithras releases me. Now, put the idea out of your pretty little head. Don't you already have everything you've ever wanted? He smiles wryly before turning and walking out of the throne room, leaving me alone and trembling. To break the curse, Fritz has to overthrow Varg? In his own mind? A sudden cold descends upon me. I wrap my arms around myself and shudder. I turn to look at the king, but he has not moved since my encounter with Sir Mithras. Your Majesty, did I do this to you? Mother. If she were here, she could make sense of it for me. Mother, where are you? I stare at my now trembling hands. This is not what I wanted at all. Yeah, girl. Princess, we cannot. I am the crowned princess. Which is why we cannot allow you to leave on your own, your highness. It is strange to think just a few months ago these same men did everything they could to keep me out of the palace. Your highness, you'll need an escort if you want to leave. I can take care of myself. Care to escort me? He's got his mask back on. I was wondering the last time, I'm like, did he remove his mask just for her? Because if so, my heart. He trusts her so much. He left himself vulnerable by removing his mask for her. Oh no, I'm even sadder now. He's gonna be gone.
Back to being a nuisance, I see.
Sir! They know who he is? I watch in stunned silence as both soldiers salute to Varg. Varg turns to smirk at me.
Well, what's going on here?
The princess wishes to leave the palace to visit the town.
Does she now?
I can feel Varg's eyes on me, but I refuse to look at him.
Fine, I will accompany her.
But the queen said... The words die in the man's throat as Varg turns to glower at him. His eyes flash with impatience, and it is enough to coax the soldier into silence.
Open the gates.
Yes, sir. The gates swing open. I rush out thinking that maybe if I move fast enough I can lose Varg. Huh. Good luck with that.
So what are we here for?
Though I tried my hardest to shake him, Varg is still irritatingly close. It is impossible to leave him.
Princess.
Varg leans out and wraps his fingers around my elbow, pulling me to a stop in the shadows of an alleyway. My irritation is immediate, and I look up to glare at him.
What are we doing in town? As much as I don't want to agree with those idiot knights, You really shouldn't be wandering the streets.
My next words are cold and sharp. Why not? Before, that was what everyone insisted I do. And now the only thing everyone wants is for me to stay indoors. Varg is silent for a few moments before finally letting out an exasperated sigh.
Angielle is not what it was, Princess.
What are you talking about? Varg places his hands on my shoulders and turns me so that I am looking out onto the streets. I am not overly familiar with the kingdom, but even I can tell that something is off. The shops that had once had colorful display windows are now empty. Their displays are dull or non-existent. The liveliness of the market stalls is all but gone. My gaze is drawn to the bakery shop that Fritz had taken me all those months ago. Its dim windows tell me that it is closed. There are so many different sweets here.
Buy whatever you like.
Are you certain?
Absolutely. I know nothing makes you happier than a good pastry.
How do you know that?
Well, it's a knight's job to know these sorts of things.
Just how much do you know about me?
Nothing that anyone else wouldn't know.
What's my favorite color?
Blue.
My favorite flower?
Lilies. I told you that these croissants were famous, right? Those are my favorite.
I'll get a croissant then.
Not a custard Danish. I thought you liked those best. A croissant, of course, right away.
He does know that she likes lilies. An all too familiar ache beats within my chest. Has it been that long since that day? Everything was so vibrant and full of energy back then. This place was so lively, and there was music that filled the streets and performances everywhere. But now, so much has changed. It's so silent. The streets are so empty, and the eyes of all the people, their eyes are glazed and unseeing, just like the king's. I step forward to get a better look without realizing. I am only dimly aware of Varg's hands, which have not moved from my shoulders. What happened?
The Queen happened.
But the people...
She can take control and can demand obedience, but she can't force love or loyalty. The people of Angielle are being crushed, Princess, and they know who's responsible for it.
Varg's voice is hushed, but he still draws stares. I flinch back at the expressions on the people's faces as they look at us. There is fear in their eyes. I instinctively retreat until I fall back into Varg. His hands tighten on my shoulders.
They know that you're her daughter.
These are the looks they have always given me. This is why they have feared me. Abruptly, Varg draws his cape around me, enclosing me in darkness. Oh. Well, that's magical. When light finally filters back into my consciousness, I am facing a completely different street. What did you do?
Smoke and mirrors. Things might have gotten out of hand back there, so I got us out.
He suddenly releases me and nudges me forward.
Can we return to the palace now?
I grit my teeth. I still want to see the town. It is impossible to think that the entire place is so changed. How is that possible? Sir Mithras said Mother was out. I really need to see her.
It's almost dinner time, Princess. Your family will be expecting you.
Mother will be expecting me. I should see her at dinner, right? Thinking about everything that has transpired exhausts me. I rub my eyes and sigh. Fine, let us return. Thanks for keeping me safe. When I enter the dining hall, a familiar figure stands by one of the windows. I have not seen her for 4 years, but she remains unchanged. Standing before me is the only person whose love I have never doubted. Mother! Oh, you're beautiful! Let's take a look at you, girl. Well, we inherited your hair, that's for sure. Hill, dear, you're alive. My dearest one. I move toward her immediately, like a moth drawn to flame. Soon I have my arms wrapped around her in a hug. I do not care that I am crying. Mother, I've missed you so much. And I have missed you. I cannot believe that Mother is indeed alive. I'm crying so hard tears blur my eyes and it takes effort to speak. I thought you died. Mother presses a soft, cool hand to my cheek. Her touch is more comforting than I remember.
And it is thanks to you that I did not. I am so proud of you, love.
I had thought her warmth would envelop me longer, but Mother is quick to draw away from me. I look up at her in confusion and flinch when I see that her gaze is cold.
But I heard you left the palace today. What have I told you about leaving the palace, Lucette? No excuses. You know my feelings on this. But have you truly become so disrespectful while I was absent? Let's not fight. Not tonight.
Yes, Mother.
Come, sit.
I take my usual chair and stare at the now vacant seats in front of me. There is a heaviness in my chest as I remember who sat in them. Those are Ophelia, Rod, and Emmeline's places. And the king. I turn to look at him and feel my heart falter then sink.
Lucette?
The king is sitting in his usual seat, but his expression is as vacant as it was earlier. It's nothing. Mother follows my line of sight and frowns.
Mithras told me of your request. I had not anticipated that you would require something from him in exchange for reviving me. But no matter. I had no desire to see Alcaster's plans come to fruition.
Where is Sir Alcaster? My mother beckons quietly with a wave of her hand, and servants begin to place platters of food on the table.
Exiled. There is no place in this kingdom for a snake like him.
Then why is Varg still here? My mother looks at me with knowing eyes as the servant spoons soup into our bowls.
You still need a guard, my dear. It was fortuitous of me to retain him, considering your actions today.
I look down, my mind racing.
But enough of these inconsequential notions. We must discuss your training.
What?
You are the crown princess, and you must learn how to be a queen. Eventually, you too shall become the Tenebrarum bearer. I will show you how to control it.
It was impossible for me to think of Mother as a witch. But seeing how she speaks so casually of the Tenebrarum, and considering all that has happened this week, I have no choice but to believe it. Why did you not tell me about the Tenebrarum? About the witches?
Dearest one, you were so young. I wanted to protect you. And it is no matter now, for I am here. I will teach you through practical demonstration. I have always found that to be the most effective way.
She looks at me sharply.
We will begin by punishing those that cursed you.
Fear and shock immediately fled through me. What? Punish Parfait and Allura?
They have acted to keep you from me and from your destiny. They must be punished. Don't you wish for revenge on those that have wronged you so?
Protest! They're our friends! I do not want revenge. Mother sets down her spoon.
Dearest one, need I remind you of how the people of this world will seek to abuse your nature and your position in order to use you? Have you not experienced the selfishness and greed of people firsthand? Were you not cursed by such people?
You're right. But Allura and Parfait. And I'm not working with witches, because Varg and Fritz hate witches. They have been kind to me as well. Mother goes back to eating.
Regardless, we shall start your lessons tomorrow.
For some reason my eyes are drawn once more to the king. He has not moved since dinner began. His soup is still untouched. The king is barely conscious. Mother is right here, so close to me, and yet nothing feels right.
You will succeed me in all things, my daughter.
Mother speaks and my attention snaps back to her.
I expect nothing but your full devotion to this task.
I mechanically bring a spoon of soup to my mouth and swallow without tasting. Could I really punish anyone?
Oh, dearest one,
Mother's voice pulls me from my thoughts. She reaches over and brushes my hair away from my face. Her touch is heartbreakingly familiar. She is right here, but I feel like this is the most distant I have ever been from her.
We're never going to be separated again.
Yay. I'm so happy. Chapter 8. Uprising. Gotta nip this. Oh boy.
Lucette,
I cannot do this.
you are not trying hard enough.
But
It is almost as if you do not wish to complete your training.
Ever since Mother came back, she has been teaching me to use my magic. But her methods are... Well, I cannot bring myself to agree with the way she teaches. But this is...
A little bird, no more.
This bird is still alive! It's been trying to escape the dome it's been trapped under this whole time.
Your bleeding heart will be the end of us all, Lucette. Do you feel such turmoil every time you have a meal? Do I need to remind you how many animals are killed on a daily basis just for your meals?
But this is different. Why can't Mother see that?
All you are doing is removing the air in the dome. This is a lesson about control. How else are we to tell when you are successful without such a barometer?
Mother raises her hand and without any apparent effort manipulates the air in the dome. Okay, so you have blue magic.
Now you see how simple it is?
I stare at the bird's lifeless body inside the dome. The sight of it brings back old memories. This happened before, and even then I was not able to save the bird's life. I still cannot save anything.
And because you hesitated, another bird must be brought in. How many birds will it take, Lucette? I need you to focus, dearest heart. We will continue tomorrow, and I expect you to perform as expected. Do you understand? Lucette.
I nod my head numbly. Mother opens her arms and beckons me toward her, just like Mother Gothel. I reluctantly step toward her so that she can embrace me. There is no more warmth in her embrace. There's nothing. Mother strokes my hair. Before I found the gesture endearing and comforting, but now I feel cold.
I do this because I love you, Lucette. You understand, yes?
The words I want to say are trapped in my throat. I can't. Mother pulls back, a questioning look in her eyes.
Say you love me, darling.
Of course I love you. I do love her, but things are different now. I cannot deny who she is or what she can do. Mother releases me and turns around.
Varg.
The door opens and Varg steps inside immediately. He kneels before us.
Your Majesty,
Take my daughter back to her room.
as you command.
Varg rises and bows before going to hold open the door for me.
Princess.
Good night, Mother. I curtsy and follow Varg out of the throne room. Varg, join my side. Fight for the good side. Ever since Fritz disappeared the day I woke up, he has not returned. The hope that he would return and that Varg would be destroyed is slowly disappearing. Every morning I wake and find Varg standing outside my door, I become more disheartened. I look at Varg's back as he walks in front of me. How am I supposed to bring Fritz back? Varg is only getting stronger each day. At this rate, Fritz will... Adiuva.
You know that will not work on me anymore, Princess.
Fritz used to come when I said that word, but I no longer see any signs that he hears me.
Worried about your knight? Let me tell you something that might lift your spirits, then. He's not gone.
What?
He doesn't think he can afford to lose. He's not giving up control without a fight. Thought you might want to know.
Why are you telling me this?
You haven't been yourself the past few days.
But why do you care?
Oh, the shock. The shock is real.
Why do I care? Varg stops and turns to look at me. He's looking at me the same way Fritz always does, with gentle acceptance. I could almost believe I'm looking at Fritz and not Varg.
I've been asking myself the same question. I know these feelings for you aren't my own, and yet...
Feelings for me?
I guess his emotions for you are too strong. It's rubbed off on me, and now I'm stuck caring about you too.
I don't know. It's just my charm, man. Oh. Varg's expression changes, a subtle sadness creeping into his eyes.
Stupid. We both know who you'll choose when the time comes.
What? Varg smiles, but it is devoid of any cheer. My heart. He's like, I've lost Lucette to you already. Ugh. Why? Why would you do this to me, game? He turns around and continues walking without waiting for me.
Hurry up, Princess.
The rest of our walk is silent. The night is deep, dark, and gentle, but I cannot find peace or sleep in the all-consuming silence. It has been 2 weeks since Mother's return, and 2 weeks since I've been able to sleep through the night. Most of my days are spent at Mother's side. When we aren't patrolling Angielle, she is teaching me how to use the Tenebrarum, readying me as her successor. Every day it only becomes clearer to me that the kingdom is suffering. The people fear and hate us. It is even worse than it was before. Mother is cruel to everyone, even though I have yet to see them do anything wrong. Is this why Father hated her?
Your Highness, I beg your forgiveness. My child was not watching where he was going.
The man's son had wandered out in front of us. The soldiers' horses would have crushed the child if the man hadn't pushed him out of the way. The stop on the road has caused a delay in our arrival back to the palace. Mother had been out visiting an old friend, a witch. Mother? There's a blinding flash of light as Mother draws a shape in the air. When the light clears, the man has disappeared from in front of us. He has collapsed against the wall of a nearby building. Mother threw him into the building?
Let us continue.
But Mother, that man isn't moving. I do not think he's breathing.
Come along, Lucette.
Mother, why did you do that? The man, he...
Are you questioning me, Lucette?
Mother's gaze is cold as steel, her eyes as sharp as a blade. I flinch away from her.
You have become soft. The world has changed you while I was sleeping. Do not worry, dearest heart. I will bring you back to what you were, I promise.
Mother smiled at me then, the same smile she would always give me when I was a child. I used to be comforted by the sight of it, but now it terrifies me. And the king... I choke down the lump in my throat. He is gone. He speaks, he eats, but he is not here. If it were not clear in his actions, it is clear when I look into his eyes. He is right there, and yet I miss him. The frustration makes me restless. I stand up so that I can make my way toward the window and stare outside. I'm being ridiculous. Why should I miss him when he has been nothing but neglectful? I have forgotten how he stopped caring about me when he invited his new family into the palace. He treasured them and his kingdom more than he ever loved me. He never valued me. And yet, I would give anything to go back to how things have been. Aw, Lucette. The weight on my shoulders and in my heart is overwhelming. The feeling only worsens when I turn my thoughts to another person. Fritz. I lean my forehead against the cold glass of the window. Varg said that Fritz is still fighting, so he must still be in there. How can I help him? Fritz? Who? Before I can turn, someone clamps a hand over my mouth. The rest of my words are muffled. Long time no see. That voice. Oh, it's Jurian, never mind.
Long time no see.
Jurian?
That's right. Remain calm, Princess.
She slowly lowers her hand. I turn around and stare, surprised to see her here in my room. What are you doing here? She smiles, and some of the weight in my heart lifts.
We're on a rescue mission.
We? At that moment, a man sidesteps into the doorway, his footsteps cautious and soft. Garland? He does not turn completely, but cranes his neck to give me a soft smile. I've missed you guys. Glad to see you're safe, Princess. I can barely believe that the two of them are standing here. It has been so long.
We apologize for being late. We've been trying to get into the palace for the last few months, but a powerful shield's been keeping us from entering. Lady Parfait could easily destroy it, but it would have meant destroying the palace as well. The last thing we wanted is to cause panic among the people.
Mithras and Varg are crafty. They've been watching over the palace like hawks. And it was difficult to speak with Prince Rod when he was being watched around the clock.
We needed more time to make sure our rescue mission would not fail.
Then how did you find a way inside?
Lady Parfait managed to find a weak spot in the shield, but it's thin, and only allows a few people into the palace at one time. Garland and I know this place better than anyone. That's why we're here to rescue you.
Delora and Lady Parfait wanted to come, but the shield easily detects witches and fairies. But they're waiting for us at the Marchand, Princess. Was I meant to escape with Rod and Emmeline before?
Yes, that was the only other plan we had, though it didn't go as expected when someone caught whiff of their plans and sent Varg out to kill them.
So they tried to save me before and failed. You're not supposed to be here. Why did you come for me? They look at me, their expressions baffled. What? I cross my arms as I look at them. Why would you rescue someone you hate? Princess.
Of course we'd come for you. You're part of the Marchand, after all.
What? Jurian looks at me seriously.
Let's go.
Jurian heads toward the door, but stops when she notices that I am not following her. Coming, Princess? How can the Marchand take me back after everything I have said and done? How could the Marchand accept me back? Did they even want me to return? I only realized I had spoken aloud when Jurian answers me.
Princess, we wouldn't be here if that wasn't the case. We have to leave now. We're running out of time.
I can think about this later. I nod and follow them out of my room.